Reminder, it is election day, so if you are based in the US and you haven't voted yet, please go out and vote. Although by the time I finish editing this and upload it, it might be kind of late, but if you're Pacific time, then it might still be okay. But please, please, please go out and vote. So this is going to be just a weird little sit down and chat kind of video. As I have mentioned in my previous, not really previous, but video I posted like back in April when I lost my job, that I was here at my parents' house living at home, and I have been here for like 6-7 months now. I feel like I keep getting questions from so many people that, you know, what is it like living at home? And I just kind of wanted to address what it's, you know, really like. Because I feel like when you're in your 20s, there's so much of a stigma to be like it's weird to live at home. But I kind of wanted to go through my story. So let's get started. So if you guys are new here or you haven't seen my why I lost my job video, I'll link it down below. But if you guys are new, basically I came back to my parents' house early in March when the coronavirus first started, and I had a job in New York City and I was working, and then they basically were like, hey, you guys don't have to come to the office, we don't know how long this is. This was like the very beginnings of Corona before anybody knew anything. And so I was like, okay, well, I'd rather not be trapped in a tiny little apartment if I'm going to be stuck here for a little bit. And everything in New York was sort of shutting down at that point. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just come back home to PA and be with my parents and, you know, have my room and space and everything, and I'll work remotely. So early in March, I want to say it was like the first or second week of March, I was already back here and was working from home and, you know, settling into the new, well, I guess I didn't at the time know that initial time of Corona where we were like, 2 weeks, we'll be out of this. Anyway, since then I lost my job, and so I thankfully don't have another place to live. I've been living at home, otherwise I would not be able to afford an apartment at the moment. And so honestly, this whole time has been just such a weird time, because normally, like, I would think about this pretty often, but for once in my life, like, I haven't been home for this long of a time period, I think since Girl Starter, I want to say, which was 3.5 years ago. And the only reason I was home was because I knew I was going to be missing school to go film, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to assign an apartment for school because I didn't know when I was going to leave for filming and that kind of thing, and I wasn't really attending school because I was waiting to go film. And that was the only time I was here up until like, that was like summer into February when I left, which is now about the same amount of time, honestly. And then the time prior to that was literally high school when I was like living here, you know? And so it's weird that it's been such a long time since I've lived here for that long of a period. But honestly, I've been loving it. Like, it's been great, and it's honestly put me at so much peace of mind. And I think that's for a couple of reasons. One, obviously because coronavirus is going on. I definitely think if Corona wasn't happening, it would definitely be way harder because of FOMO. I know living out in the suburbs, obviously most of my friends live in the city, so going back and forth, you miss out on a lot, and that would be major FOMO. But because of Corona, like, most people aren't going out anywhere, most people aren't having friends over, or not going to bars, not staying out as late, and so I really just haven't missed that aspect. Like, I haven't really felt like I've been missing out, because quite honestly I haven't been. Most people, you know, if they go out to a bar, they're going like during the daytime for like an hour. Like, most people have not been, you know, going out, and that's great because you shouldn't be. And so I think it's done me a lot of favors being at home, being like, I'm not really missing anything because my dog's barking, but I don't really feel like I'm missing out on anything because not much is going on. And like I said, I think if Corona wasn't happening, I think that that would be like a major thing that would weigh on my mental health, is just missing out on all of that. Because now everyone's in this boat of like, no one's seeing people face to face, no one's hanging out. I think everyone is sort of in the same boat, and it's not just me feeling that way. Another reason I love it is free food. I don't pay to live here, thankfully. And I have a space, like you guys saw my room tour, if like you guys have seen it. I'm very grateful for this, but I have a huge room and I have all the space in the world that I need, and it's honestly been so great. And I also would think a lot about if I was stuck in New York City through coronavirus, like if I hadn't come home and I was like quarantined in New York, I think I would have literally gone insane. Because if you guys saw my New York apartment tour, my apartment was super tiny, and I shared it with 3 other people, and my bedroom was literally 8 feet by 8 feet. Like, it had enough room for a bed. And I think if I was stuck there, I would have literally lost my mind. And so the fact that I'm back home and in my own space and with my family, I have felt so much more comfortable, so much more safe, and just honestly happier, being that I have constant face-to-face communication. I mean, it's with my parents, but you know, it's better than nothing. I feel more mentally just sane being here and being home. Another sort of comforting thing is knowing I'm not the only one. I have seen so many people who are in their 20s, early 20s, kind of like around where I am, where it's like they just graduated maybe a year or 2 ago or just now, and they're back home with their parents, and the reason is they got laid off or they can't find a job. And so I feel like in normal circumstances, like most of us are like, yeah, I'm gonna move out, have my own apartment, because we're used to the freedom. And now it's like, okay, well, I don't have a job, and it's not like you're the only one because of Corona. It's just hit jobs across the board, and so many people are home. So I've found a lot of comfort in finding other people who are my age who are living at home and just kind of doing their own thing. Just knowing that you're not the only one going through something like this, I think also just helps a lot. And then on top of that, I've also just had a bunch of personal stuff that I've been going through, and it's really been nice to have my parents here with me to help me through that. I think another reason why I'm so happy here is also like my parents are super respectful of my space. Like if I'm busy, like if I'm filming or something, like they won't bother me, my door is closed. You know, they're not like constantly barging in or checking in on me or wanting to know what I'm up to like 24/7. Like they don't do that. And even though I'm Indian, things have changed since high school. Like I think high school would have been really different, but now that I'm like 24 and I've had my independence, they're like, we don't bother her. And I feel like a lot of parents have sort of morphed into that. If they haven't, I'm not going to speak of all people because I know everyone comes from a different background, but I've been fortunate that they are very understanding and very respectful of like, I've had my independence. Sometimes I just want to do my own thing. Sometimes just leave me alone in my room, let me do whatever and not bother me at all the time. That has been super nice. But also if I want someone to watch a show with, you know, I don't know. I have the personality of a puppy and I really like company, so it's really nice. Like if my mom wants to watch The Vampire Diaries with me, it's a really fun time. That has been sort of my experience, and you know, and I feel like a lot of this is riding on the fact that I don't feel like I'm missing out on much. I think this would have been a totally different video if it was like last year or the year before and everyone was like living and doing their own thing and I was stuck at home. I think that it would be a totally different video. If you're like me, we're in this together. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to make a little sit down video as to like what it's really been like living at home. But I feel like a lot of people are like, I hate it. And honestly, throughout college, I remember when I would come home on breaks, like it would get to that point where it's like the first like week or so is like super fun. I'm like, yes, this is great, free food, amazing. And then I'd be like, I want to go back. And now I'm like, I'm so comfortable at home. Like I'm not like, I'm not like looking at apartments. I'm not like, I can't wait to get out of here. Like I'm very comfortable and very content, and You know, I'll definitely move out, obviously, at some point. I never thought I would say those words, at least, especially not now at like 24. I feel like everything that you ever want to do is like leave and move out. Just given the circumstances of what the world is going through and what I'm personally going through right now, it has been so comforting to be home. And with that being said, I'm also so grateful that I have such amazing parents and a great home to come home to. That is definitely a huge privilege. I realize not a lot of people have that, so I'm really, really grateful for that. Let me know down below if you guys are living at home and what your experience is like, because I've heard mixed things. I've seen other YouTubers post about this, and some people are like, I'm actually doing great, and other people are like, I hate it here. So if you guys are living at home with your parents, let me know down below in the comments how you guys are handling this and what it's like for you guys. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.